I just got a vasectomy and I encourage other men to do the same. I hesitated before getting one because I thought it would be painful, but I was wrong. It was a quick procedure, not too invasive, and it barely hurt. I was numbed beforehand, so I didn't feel anything really. I'm glad I went through with it. I no longer have to worry about unwanted pregnancies, and my girlfriend can finally get a break from her birth control pills. I decided to get one because my girlfriend and I don't ever plan on having children, and when she tried to get a hysterectomy she was turned down by 3 different doctors and told she would change her mind. On top that, her birth control pills were having a serious impact on her health, so we both decided she'd stop taking them and I'd get a vasectomy instead. So many guys whine about vasectomies because they are either uneducated about the procedure, or they're flat out selfish and expect their partners to take on the responsibility of contraception on their own. I encourage other men to get one too. Vasectomies are effective and reversible. If you change your mind and decide you're ready for children, you can get it undone. Getting this procedure is the responsible thing to do, and I've already convinced 2 of my friends to do the same. Ida for telling my wife that she doesn't need to be with her sick friend at the hospital. So my wife has a friend from childhood named Anthony. I'm being completely honest here when I say that he and I don't get along. It's not like he is rude or disrespectful. Nothing like that, but all I feel towards him is annoyance, sort of speak, because of how much my wife sees him. He lives alone and now suffers from a medical condition, cancer, that requires him to go to the hospital regularly to receive treatment. I found out that my wife promised him to go with him to his every chemo treatment as support. She said it's a commitment she made to be there for him during this rough time since he has no one else besides him. Okay, I had no issue with that at first, but then this started affecting me. E.g., I can't go see my friends because I have to stay with my son on next day so my wife could be with Anthony for his treatment, etc. etc. I've talked to her about it, but she said that Anthony needs company and that she's just being supportive, and this is when he needs her the most. I let it go, but last week was just kind of my last straw. Anthony had a other chemo session treatment. My wife wanted to go with him and asked me to stay home with our son. I told her I had to meet up with my mom and sister to eat lunch and that I won't be home. She said she needed to go be with him, and I kind of flipped out at her and said that she doesn't need to be with him and could literally go see him at home the next day or something. She threw a fit and called me cruel for forcing her to leave Anthony by himself since she's all he has, and that I was making her look bad. She also said my appointment with mom and sister wasn't as important as a chemo session, but I decided to just leave to end the argument. She ended up staying at home but kept ignoring me when I got back, calling me selfish for not letting her be there to support Anthony with what he's going through. Some of her girlfriends think I'm being a controlling jerk with no consideration for Anthony and what he's going through. Ida? I've been thinking all day about my Lyft driver I had last night. Her name was Beatrice. She was 60-something and was chosen as my driver as I left a club I was at by myself. Went to see a small concert but no one wanted to go with me. When she picked me up at about 11 p.m., she dropped off a guy and girl about my age who had just gotten engaged that day. And when I got in, she immediately offered me candy and told me how nice I looked. We got to small talk and I asked if she was just doing this as a side thing, and she mentioned she was actually retired and was just doing this as a way to earn extra money since she used to be a school bus and also taxi driver as well. She eventually told me about how her husband had passed just a year prior and it really hit her heart. She gave me almost her whole life story, where she was from, how she and her husband met, what it was like raising their kids, etc. I normally phase out listening to people drone on and on, but I was listening to every word of hers and hardly said anything myself. She was so kind and gentle with how she talked that it'd be insulting not to listen to her. She took note of how I wasn't talking much and how I looked depressed. I didn't tell her much other than I'd been this way for a while, and she didn't really have much to say other than reassure me and say you're your own worst enemy, I've been where you're at and I'm still here and stuff like that. It felt good having someone speak kindly to me for once. I almost didn't want to get out of the car once we got to my destination and just wanted to keep talking to her. But I also didn't want to inconvenience her since I was her last fare for the night. So when we got to my place, I thanked her for the ride and she thanked me for talking with her. One of the last things she said to me was "You'll be alright," and I agreed and thanked her one last time before getting out. I went to sleep thinking about our talk and woke up thinking about it. I've discovered something new in physics. I'm a PhD student, and in the last month I've realized I've solved something that has never been solved before. Since then my life has been chaotic. I'm extremely anxious that someone will publish this result before me. I'm working insane amount of hours on it to publish it as fast as possible. I barely sleep and I've stopped going out with friends. My whole life is dedicated to this one thing to an extreme degree. I don't feel like I can stop. I have no weekends, no days off, nothing is as important as publishing this as fast as possible. When I'm not working on it, I think about it, obsessively. There is nothing else on my mind. I am machine built to this one purpose. I'm constantly doubting myself and checking the math again and again, but every time I realize that I am indeed correct. I'm exhausted, excited, anxious and sleep deprived, and I don't see it changing anytime soon. Ida for not allowing my cousin to announce her pregnancy at my baby shower for my rainbow baby? This is one thing that you read about on Facebook and think there is no way people actually act like this, until it happens to you. My husband and I are finally expecting our rainbow baby after years of infertility and multiple miscarriages. It's safe to say we and our family are very freaking excited. My mother is probably the most excited. She's been planning our baby shower and making decorations for months. She's been the biggest help during this exciting, yet scary pregnancy. A few weeks ago, my aunt told my mother and I that my cousin is pregnant. We are very happy for her. However, my aunt said their plan is to announce her pregnancy at my baby shower, since we are having a big party anyways. She said it's not a big deal and we both can share the day. I said absolutely not because we have been waiting for this day forever, and it should be all about me and my rainbow baby. My mother is on my side and told my aunt that they better not announce anything at the party. My aunt dropped it, and nothing else was ever said. Last Saturday was my baby shower. It was everything I've waited for. Everything is going good. No one has announced my cousin's pregnancy. When it was time for us to eat my cake, my aunt said, hold on everyone," and went outside to her car to grab something. That was the moment I knew something was up. My mother and I follow her outside, and my aunt decided to bring a cake announcing my cousin's pregnancy, and some presents for my cousin. My mother immediately told my aunt that she will not be bringing those back into the rec center, and they will not be ruining my day. My aunt started throwing a fit, screaming this is a baby shower, it's for babies. Cousin is having a baby too, so this day is about her too. My cousin now joins the screaming and says how pissed off she is that everything is always about me and why do we always have to be happy for me. They would not stop screaming, so they were kicked out by the rec center's security, and half our family was upset that I wouldn't let her have a moment at my shower so they left too. Now everyone is bashing my mother, myself, and Rainbow Baby on Facebook, group family texts, anything at all. So Reddit, was I the asshole for not allowing my cousin to announce her pregnancy at my Rainbow Baby's shower? If anyone has any questions or want to know more, I will gladly go into deal in the comments. Thanks. Thank you to the girls who intervened when they thought I was harming my GF. A few months ago I was out drinking at a bar with my GF. She's diabetic and noticed her sugar was dropping. A loud bar isn't the best place to be when you are having a medical issue, so she said she'd find a bench outside and come back in when she felt better. Wanting me to keep having fun, she assured me she had it under control and I let it go. 10 minutes go by, I start to worry and go to look for her. I found her sitting on a set of stairs with her head in between her knees. She ran out of soda with her blood still being low. Not a huge deal, you get used to this sort of thing happening every now and again. I run back into the bar, grab another soda, and trot over to encourage her to take sips. Looking at the situation, it completely warranted some type of checking in on. A girl alone looking drunk as fuck while some dude is encouraging her to take sips of liquid. A group of girls approached us to ask what was going on. Oh man, even now I can feel myself getting nervous. The situation was explained. I anxiously showed them her insulin pump and spat out a few sentences about her sugar being low. Satisfied, they walked away. I just want to say thank you to those girls. It's great how women have each other's backs. Thank you guys. Even though you gave me the most anxiety I've had in a while. DLDR, GF is diabetic. Her sugar went low. Got her a soda encouraging her to sip on it. Girls came up cause situation looked suspicious as fuck. Women rock. My sister died recently and the most important thing she left me was a Pokemon. Recently my older sister of 24 years old died in a tragic car crash because of some dickhead drunk driver and so my parents were rummaging through apartment putting it away. She lived on her own and we lived basically on the same street. When she was alive me and her would always play Pokemon X all the time. Our parents could only afford the one game so we shared it equally. I was 7 and she was 16. Whilst looking through her belongings that had been boxed up I had noticed a small Switch SD card that had been put in a case simply labeled, "Important, for Parker," my name. Immediately I put it away in my pocket saving it for later. When we got back I immediately put it into my Switch which gave me the option to download Pokemon Home off. Obviously, I do and I look through the bank, it's the regular stuff nothing all that important but I always know if it's my sister's Pokemon box she'll always put her important stuff right at the end of the others. Of course, I was right and I was looking through boxes upon boxes of legendaries, events, lucky wonder trades, shines Pokemon, but at the very end I notice a soul page named Parker. I look at the only Pokemon in the box. It was a Hawlucha, the first Pokemon I ever loved, still my number one, all these years later. I hover over it and see it was the same shiny Hawlucha from when we were kids that made me fall in love with the series. A shiny Hawlucha, that my sister named Parker. Rest in peace, Haley. You were the best sister a guy could have. Let you rest with the Miniors.